Ever find yourself craving a dish from a place that's no longer around? Like that unforgettable steak you had at Tavern on the Green under the twinkling Central Park lights. Let's embark on a flavorful journey down memory lane and revisit some legendary eateries that once defined dining out. Hey foodies, welcome back to Worldeats. Today, we're turning back the clock to honor 20 iconic restaurants that have, sadly, closed their doors for good. These weren't just spots to grab a bite. They were culinary institutions that left a lasting imprint on our taste buds and culture. So grab a comfy seat and maybe a snack, because this is going to stir up some serious nostalgia. First up, let's talk about Le Cirque. If walls could talk, this New York City hotspot would have stories for days. Since opening in 1974, it wasn't uncommon to spot A-listers like Jackie O savoring their famous creme brulee, or Frank Sinatra toasting the night away. Le Cirque wasn't just dining. It was a dazzling spectacle of glitz and gourmet that, unfortunately, took its final bow in 2018 after struggling to keep pace with the city's ever-evolving dining scene. Hopping across the pond, remember El Bulli in Spain? Chef Ferran Adria turned the culinary world on its head with dishes that were more like edible science experiments. Think olive spheres that burst in your mouth and foams that packed a punch of flavor. Scoring a reservation here was like winning the lottery. But in 2011, El Bulli served its last whimsical course, leaving food enthusiasts worldwide craving just one more taste of its magic. And then there was the Rainbow Room, perched atop 30 Rockefeller Plaza in New York. This wasn't just a restaurant, it was an experience, offering some of the best views of Manhattan paired with elegant dining and dancing. Opened in 1934, it was a place where Hollywood glamour met New York sophistication, with guests like Fred Astaire gracing its dance floor. But after decades of being a symbol of New York's high society, it closed its doors in 2009, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable nights and spectacular city views. Then there's the Four Seasons restaurant in New York, not to be confused with the hotel chain. This mid-century marvel practically invented the power lunch, hosting everyone from fashion moguls to political heavyweights under its iconic Picasso tapestry. Despite a valiant fight to keep its doors open, the restaurant served its last meal in 2019. Marking the end of an era where deals were sealed over martinis and impeccable cuisine. Next up is 21 Club, a speakeasy-turned-restaurant that was an icon of New York City's dining scene for decades. Known for its jockey statues outside and a wine cellar that once hid booze during Prohibition, 21 Club was where the elite went to see and be seen. It was the setting for countless power lunches and celebrity sightings. Unfortunately, after nearly a century of operation, the restaurant closed its doors in 2020, a casualty of the pandemic that left New Yorkers mourning the loss of a true legend. Over in Boston, Les Espalier set the standard for fine dining with a hearty side of New England charm. For over 40 years, Chef Frank McClellan wowed patrons with his elegant French cuisine, sourced straight from local farms. Dining here felt like being welcomed into an old friend's townhouse, if that friend happened to be a world-class chef. In 2018, the cherished establishment closed, leaving behind a legacy of culinary excellence and countless special occasion memories. Hey there, fellow foodies! Did you know that 96.8% of our viewers are not subscribed? If you've enjoyed this journey into the world of global luxury dining, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our Worldeats community and never miss out on our culinary adventures. We got a lot more delicious content coming your way, exploring luxury dining across the globe. So, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and let's continue this food journey together. Now, let's get back to the video. And who could overlook Tavern on the Green? Nestled in the heart of Central Park, this iconic spot was the backdrop for countless celebrations, romantic dinners, and yes, even a movie scene or two. With its sparkling chandeliers and lush gardens, it was the place to be for New Yorkers and tourists alike. Despite multiple attempts at revival, The original magic proved hard to recreate, and the tavern closed its doors once more in 2020, ending an era of Central Park elegance. Heading west, Chasen's in Los Angeles was the go-to dining room for Hollywood's golden age stars. From Elizabeth Taylor indulging in their legendary chili to Ronald Reagan proposing to Nancy over dinner, Chasen's was where Hollywood legends lived their off-screen lives. After 58 glamorous years, the storied restaurant closed in 1995. But its legacy lives on in Tinseltown lore and vintage recipe books. In the Windy City, Charlie Trotter's was more than a restaurant. It was an institution. Opening in 1987, Chef Trotter's innovative approach and dedication to perfection put Chicago on the global culinary map. Dining there was an experience that challenged and delighted the senses. The restaurant closed in 2012, and with Chef Trotter's passing the following year, the culinary world lost one of its true pioneers. Let's also raise a glass to the Brown Derby in Los Angeles, famous for its distinctive hat-shaped building and as the birthplace of the Cobb salad. This was the spot where Clark Gable and Lucille Ball could unwind and where everyday folks could dine like stars. The original Derby closed its doors in 1985, but its spirit lives on in replicas and the many menus it inspired across the country. Now, brace yourselves as we reminisce about Windows on the World, the crown jewel atop the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Offering breathtaking panoramic views of New York City, dining here was nothing short of magical. Whether you were closing a business deal over lunch or celebrating a special occasion, the experience was unparalleled. Tragically, the iconic restaurant was lost in the heartbreaking events of September 11, 2001. Though gone, the memories of its grandeur and the joy it brought to so many remain etched in our hearts. Turning back to comfort classics, who remembers the automat? This self-service wonderland was a staple in cities like New York and Philadelphia throughout the early to mid-20th century. Pop in a few coins and voila! A slice of pie or a hot cup of coffee appeared behind those gleaming glass doors. It was the original fast food before drive-thrus took over, offering affordable and tasty meals to millions. The last automat served its final dish in the early 1990s, but its legacy lives on in vintage films and the fond memories of those who dined there. Then there's Brasserie Les Halles in New York City, forever linked to the late, great Anthony Bourdain. Before he was traversing the globe on our TV screens, Bourdain was helming the kitchen here, serving up hearty French fare like steak frites and moule marinière. Les Halles was the kind of place where you could enjoy a no-nonsense, delicious meal that left you planning your next visit before you even paid the check. It closed in 2017, but its spirit and Bourdain's influence continues to inspire chefs and travelers around the world. Next, we remember the Russian Tea Room, a New York City institution that served as a glamorous gathering spot for the city's elite for decades. Opened in 1927 by members of the Russian Imperial Ballet, the restaurant was famous for its opulent decor and traditional Russian cuisine. For generations, it was the go-to spot for celebrities, politicians, and artists alike. Despite attempts to revive its former glory, the Russian Tea Room finally closed its doors in 2020, leaving behind a legacy of elegant dining and cultural significance. Back in the Big Easy, Commander's Palace had a short-lived but memorable outpost in Las Vegas, bringing authentic Creole cuisine and Southern hospitality to the Strip. It stood out in a sea of celebrity chef restaurants. Despite its promising start, it couldn't quite capture the essence of its New Orleans counterpart and closed in 2010, leaving diners dreaming of what could have been. In San Francisco, Fifth Floor was a culinary beacon during the early 2000s, with chefs like Marissa Perillo and Laurent Gras crafting exquisite, modern dishes that drew foodies from all over. The restaurant underwent several transformations before finally closing in 2013, marking the end of a significant chapter in the city's dining history. Lastly, we remember Noma in Copenhagen, the trailblazer of new Nordic cuisine. Chef René Redzepi's innovative and locally sourced dishes redefined fine dining and earned Noma multiple times the title of Best Restaurant in the World and 3 Michelin stars. After various iterations and pop-ups around the globe, the original Noma announced its closure in 2023 and will officially close at the end of 2024, leaving behind a revolutionary legacy that continues to influence chefs worldwide. As we reflect on these incredible establishments, it's clear that they were more than just places to eat. They were cultural landmarks that brought people together, pushed culinary boundaries, and created memories that have stood the test of time. Though we can't walk through their doors anymore, their stories and influences continue to shape how we experience food and dining today. Now it's your turn. Do you have cherished memories from any of these iconic restaurants? Maybe a first date, a celebration, or just an unforgettable meal? Share your stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. And if you like this video, then this is the video you need to watch next.